Is this going to be a new dawn, or is this simply a protest roar? Reform UK seems to have broken through the electoral system, and there's a Labour close call in Doncaster. The local elections have delivered a startling tableau of political realignment across England, and while Labour holds some key mayors and remains the party of government, Reform UK has stormed into executive office and town halls alike. And from the closest parliamentary by-election on record in Runcorn to a clean mayoral victory in Greater Lincolnshire by Andrea Jenkyns and the uneasy grip Labour retains on Doncaster, the message from voters is one of dissatisfaction and of opportunity seized by Nigel Farage's insurgent party. Dame Andrea Jenkyns has swept to victory in the Greater Lincolnshire mayoral race, securing 104,133 votes and winning all but one area. A former Conservative minister turned Runcorn defector, she now governs a region of over 1.1 million people with devolved control over transport, housing, business and skills. Her margin of victory has been dramatic. Conservative Wob Waltham trailed by nearly 40,000 votes, but this wasn't without controversy. Her candidacy was challenged on the grounds of residency, an attempt dismissed by officials, but one that's coloured the campaign with bitterness. Jenkyns claimed she was targeted with smears and dirty tricks, a little bit like a middle finger, likening the campaign atmosphere to American-style politics. Well, it's America which revived and which has popularised the middle finger gesture. She now faces the delicate task of leading a mayoral authority where the board is dominated by Conservative council leaders, men she must now awkwardly collaborate with, people she betrayed. In her victory speech, she borrowed from both Donald Trump and Tony Blair, calling it a new dawn in British politics. When I hear the word new dawn, I think of the Greek Chrysiarchy, which is a far right party that used to march past my house and daub slogans on my walls, pledging to put British families first. It was a populist tone matched by a concrete mandate. £24 million annually and the power to reshape policy in a traditionally Tory stronghold. Contrast that with Doncaster, a Labour stronghold since time immemorial. Major Ross Jones clung on with less than 700 votes over Reform's Alexander Jones. But the real story here isn't Labour's win, it's the 21-point swing from Labour to Reform and the discontent voiced by the mayor herself. In her own words, Starmer isn't listening. Jones attacked national policy decisions, particularly welfare cuts and the national insurance hike on small businesses. These are not Conservative talking points. They are the words of a Labour mayor criticising a Labour government, and the implication is devastating. Labour may be winning by inertia, not by inspiration. And beyond Lincolnshire and Doncaster, Reform's rise is rippling across England. In Northumberland, Rochdale and Thurrock, they've displaced both Labour and Conservative councillors. They've gained 23 new council seats overnight, a remarkable feat for a party still in electoral infancy. And the counts haven't stopped. The Runcorn and Helsby by-election offered the most dramatic result. Reform's Sarah Potchin won by just 6 votes, overturning a 14,000 Labour majority from the general election, and in doing so Reform has made history, not just by winning a safe Labour seat, but in shaking the foundations of Labour's northern heartlands. It's no longer a 3-party system. As John Curtis Riley notes, England now finds itself in a 5-party world, with Reform and the Greens elbowing into the space once occupied by these political 2 giants, Labour and Conservatives. So, is this a sea change or a storm change? One cannot ignore the protest element. Disillusion with Starmer's caution, Sunak's drift, and Badenoch's incompetence, and a political class perceived as remote. This was all set up, not 1 year ago, but 3 years ago. By whom? By Liz Truss. Sunak tried to solve the problem. Sunak tried to hold things together, but in the end, he failed. And Kemi Badenoch is the icon of that failure. But Reform's victories are not just loud, they're local. They're also specific: anger over housing, migration, taxation, and the sluggish pace of change. And Jenkyns' win gives Reform a testbed for power. If she fails to deliver, the narrative may shift again, but if she succeeds, if she balances populism with competence, then Reform's opponents will no longer be able to claim the party is merely a pressure valve. It will be a contender. In Greater Lincolnshire, Reform found its first executive beachhead. In Doncaster, Labour found a warning in victory. And across council chambers, a new force has arrived with a message that's unmistakable. If unrefined, people want change, and they're willing to vote unconventionally to get it. The question now is whether Reform can move from outrage to outcome, from rebellion to government, and that perhaps is the true test of whether this new dawn, Christiavki, will last beyond the sunrise.